Welcome everyone to our showcase of our game called Barbarian. This is a game worked by myself and three of my colleagues, Ryan, Lorcan and Will. We worked extremely hard on this project and we're extremely proud of what we were able to achieve in the short period of time, over a term and a bit. And we sincerely hope that you will also like our project. So let's showcase it and show you a bit more. This is one of the scenes that I myself have worked on, and this is a cinematic intro. There's a similar scene for our outro, which is built in a similar fashion. So I'll discuss this one briefly, explain how I've set it up and how I've managed to build it. This is a simple scene where I've put a few characters, one for our barbarian wife and one for which is our main player character. I've given him a farming sort of tool. This is all built in Unity's timeline events. So basically it's creating animations using cameras, using sound, and using pre-recorded positions of players and other characters. So if we click quickly play here, you'll be able to see the different animations playing. There'll be different texts playing at different times, and there'll be a different sort of interactions between the character and his wife. There's also a cloud which comes in. Again, that's been animated by transformed out position to showcase it coming in and taking the wife character away, which really she's just being set invisible at that point when the cloud comes through. So yeah, this took a while to set up because it was a new experience for me. I've never worked with timeline before. I did do a short timeline animation for a different project, but this was a little bit more ambitious to have a cinematic in place. And as soon as it finishes, it also uses a call to an active object. So this is called finish intro, which sets the next scene, in our case being the main menu. Similarly, once the 5th level gets completed, there's a cinematic outro which showcases the two characters sitting and relaxing at their farm, and again the main menu gets called after the end of the scene. Going into our main level called the hub level, this is a level that I helped create certain aspects of it, such as the tutorial, set up through trigger boxes displaying certain messages. I've also helped create the minimap originally, which has received further additions from other team players, such as icons, as well as different HUD and UI things, such as the mission objectives and different health bars and notifications for keys and gold and things of that nature. So yeah, that was my addition to the hub level, as well as creating the very early prototype, which kind of started it all from there. Okay. Showcasing the tavern now. This is an area which I've helped set up. I've created all the assets following certain tutorials on modular dungeon. This helped create the walls and torches, barrels, things like that, also the crates, and I've helped set it up. Helped set up the animations for these two NPCs. The NPC which gives information, and I've also helped set up the UI for the background of the NPC conversation. Various additions have been made by other team members, but I'm proud of achieve. Finally, one of my bigger additions was creating level 4. This was helping some of my colleagues, and was able to create this level 4, a tropical themed level where there's a lot of platforming involved, as well as different teleporters, which create sort of a puzzle element to it that you have to navigate through in order to reach the final area of the boss. So yep, and as you can see here, you will have to explore different teleporters to guide you to the final area, which is that big island at the top, where the boss will give you a key once you defeat him, and then that key will give you access to the final level. A really cool level that I've had a lot of fun making by creating different terrains for mini islands and customizing them all to make them unique. So yeah, thank you for watching.
When I designed the first 3 levels, I wanted to have connecting areas and backtracking. I had this in mind as I designed the layouts. I spaced out key points in each level that would have the player use specific mechanics like combat or platforming. I also made spaces for puzzles to be put in and tailored the design of the maps to accommodate this. Next I added in the enemies, trying to keep enemies relating to the map theme and placing them strategically to usher players into certain areas and break up the long travel between areas and add some challenge. For each map I used terrain tools to create the landscape. Once I was happy with this, I would use the paint texture feature in the terrain tools to paint the textures onto the map, make it look nice. Once I'd done that, I would use the paint tree and paint grass features to mass place trees and grass and other meshes as well. In level 2 I created a script for the sinking platform so I could prefab one and then place it around the map and have it work correctly. I also created a script that attached to a lever which would open certain doors when hit.
Hi, welcome to Barbarian, a little game we've been making. Sort of action adventure, hack and slash kind of game. I'm Lorcan and I've made a couple of the puzzles in the game. Well, all of the puzzles. And I'm just here to show off one of these puzzles in the level just to give you a good idea of what's going on. So this is level 1, and at the end we have this nice little pressure plate puzzle with the boss door just right here. Right beyond that, obviously, is the boss. You need to hit that lever, get this door. Obviously, we can't jump that high, so we're going to need to do something here. We have pressure plates. We stand on one of these pressure plates, and one of these blocks appears, each a different size. Now we have these blocks, and we can just push them along, and that'll also spawn a block when we push it on. But that lets us keep it there by just keeping the block on the plate. So what I'll do is I'll just, push all 3 blocks on. Right, and oh, well, that just doesn't look right. Right? So we'll try that again. But it looks like the order matters. So what we'll do is we'll try this first. Well, perfect. There's the smallest block first, and yeah, the middle sized block next, and then should just be if we push this on. Okay, now we've got this nice clean staircase. We can just hop up and hit the lever. Boom. We're able to just walk right through here and into this crowd of angry skeletons.
Hi, this is Will. I'm one of the team on the Barbarian project. I primarily worked on the level design, but did do some scripting, some animation, some particle effects. Through this video I'll show you some of the stuff that I did. So first of all, I took the lead on the level design for the game, just to try and build a kind of overall aesthetic. We'd already decided on a kind of low poly style that meant that every level after the hub level, which I built, would be able to follow the same kind of design ideas. So it did. The level did have a couple of iterations before we were completely happy with everything. It ended up being quite a big level as well, which we were quite happy with, because it meant that we were able to add more enemies, more challenges and puzzles, as well as giving a kind of overall idea of scale for the game itself, which did follow on into the levels moving on from here. Right. One of the things that I'm probably most proud of is the scripting that I did for the enemies. There are quite a large range of enemy types in the game, so I decided to write a kind of behavioural script that gave them all similar abilities, but it also meant that I could give them kind of different variables, which meant that some of them would run away when you were doing too much damage to them, others would fight until they died. They were able to move about on their own and patrol. They would chase you once you get into a certain range, and then they would retreat again, like say if you did enough damage to them. They were all animated for different behaviours and stuff as well. There's a bit of variety of enemies in the levels, including the boss, who I thought, funnily enough, should be a giant rabbit, considering all the rest of the rabbits were all fairly small. So a bit of demonstration for a couple of the mechanics that I had a hand in making. Obviously, one being the enemy AI. So as you can see, this enemy spotted me and started running towards me. When I get out of range, I'll go back to patrol, chase me again. If I let him get close, he'll then start attacking. You can see some particle effects as he does his attacks. The player also has the ability to do damage. Another enemy here. Again, when you do damage to them, explode, they disappear, and then they drop items. One of the parts of the game that I'm pretty proud of is the lava shader. It does have a mission, but I've just not built the lighting for it yet. This whole, like this kind of level as a whole, was something that I had taken on personally. Obviously I'd done the hub level, but also wanted to do something a wee bit more challenging, so I decided to build the level from scratch in Blender, and then just add assets to it when populating it with like the enemies and puzzles and things like that. So two more of the mechanics that I'd scripted for the game as well, just to help the kind of traversal and giving a wee bit more options when it comes to the actual platforming. One of them was this moving platform. I scripted this to give you the ability to use an unlimited amount of waypoints. The waypoint system meaning that the platforms could move back and forward, not just in one direction, but they would just move to the next waypoint, and from there on to a third or a fourth or a fifth, and so on. And the last of the mechanics I want to talk about is the teleporter system. They come in pairs, so you walk into one, you swing your hammer, and you're then teleported to the other of the pair. So I've just went from that teleporter to this one. go back in and teleported back down from up there.